I am hoping that people can see this. Can people see us?
Mystery.
It is a mystery.
Very quiet.
It is very quiet.
Live
We are
from
live.
Portland. It's MIxtape, art, love, and music.
Yes, yes, we are live. This makes me so happy.
Oh my gosh. And it's only 6:02. Let's do this.
All right. Let's see. I'm trying to see how many friends we have online. Should we wait a minute or do we want to hop right in?
Well, I'd say we can go for it. Like we can, hey, so tell me what the temperature is in Minneapolis.
Oh, it's like negative 1,000. Let's see. I will get the official temperature. It is currently -9 in St. Paul, but it feels like a balmy -24.
It's 30 here and people in Portland and people are freaking out. But I will say, like, there is snow outside of my bedroom window. It's like this, it's drifted up and I'm like on the second floor and my
Oh,
office windows here totally iced.
well, that's
And I haven't been outside today.
well, that's
Like
exciting.
I can hear people, bunch of dummies. I was texting a friend of mine who's from the East Coast, and we've been joking about like we can just hear people that should not be driving. Like they're just so bad at it. Like no, not that I would, because it's got to be like it has to be 3 inches solid ice under there. But
Yeah, that's no fun. It's
no,
just cold. I ran the dryer earlier today and you could just see, I mean, the stream of like humidity was reaching all the way out into my yard, like huge clouds just coming from it
yeah,
because it's so flippin' cold outside. Um,
yeah.
so
I'm yeah,
it
not envious.
looks like we have maybe 6 or so folks watching with us. I may be one of
Sweet.
them on my computer. Um, so
Yeah,
should we maybe get started?
yeah.
All right. And everybody can see the screen, I'm hoping. So we are going to launch forward.
I mean, what I'm seeing is like real static. So hopefully it's good. Um, Yasmin come. I would like to note that Yasmin mentioned my lipstick. I would say like it took me a minute to even find where lipstick lived in my apartment. So I am kind of
It's
like, wow, that's my like face when I pay attention.
it is lovely. Oh, Donna May just joined us. All right, this is exciting.
Yay!
Yay. Oh,
Hooray, hooray!
I
Good,
see
all
I
right.
see Carrie. I see Yasmin. Um,
Nice.
I see, let's see who else. I see Matt who plays trivia with me. Hello, Matt. Welcome. All right. I think we should launch in. And folks, we have a little bit of an intro here and then get this rolling. So, hello, friends. Welcome. We hope you are ready to embark on this artistic journey with us, fueled by love songs. We're going to tonight travel to Ireland, San Francisco, and the frigid tundra of Minnesota by way of Meg's office and my St. Paul dining room, thanks to the magic of the interwebs, which we finally figured out. We have a fabulous variety of work, including collage, oil paintings, acrylic paintings, and ceramics that have all been inspired by the personal mixtapes of our featured artists' lives. So hold on to your hat. And Meg, did you see what I did there? It's a little
Oh,
foreshadowing. We are excited to present to you Mixtape, art plus love plus music.
and so today we're keeping our chocolates in a heart-shaped box close by as we take you on a virtual walk through the art gallery. And for those who are new to stick figure arts, Heather, Humbert, and I founded the collective in mid-stride last year in glorious 2020. And we were high school classmates and reconnected over a love of cats. And obviously, since we're in midlife now, naturally, conversation steered toward, you know, theme appropriate enough, love loss, and the totally dorky sounding but very important self love. So last time we got together, it was All Saints Day, right before the election, before Christmas, before the new year came in, and we were hoping 2021 would be like way different. And now we have a new president and it's Valentine's Day. So we're thrilled to bring art to you wherever you are, because wherever you are, you're here with us on Valentine's Day. Yes. And we have two returning artists, Heather and Sina de Crime, and we have two fresh faces from across the pond, Donna Linton and Delia O'Donoghue. And kicking off, let's go to Kilcock, County Meath, Ireland, where it is 2 a.m.
And they're here, and she's here.
And she's here, she's representing. She had a lot of tea, late night tea. So let's introduce our first artist, Donna May. So Donna May is joining us after a long hiatus from her art. Her last large-scale artwork titled Boxing was performed in '93, a year after completing her BFA at the School of the Art Institute of Chicago. And that's no joke. A fellow Chicago native, she's lived on a farm in Ireland with her family for the last 17 years. Her work and studies have informed her creative life. In Chicago, she was a nurse, and in Ireland, she studied and lectured in practical theology, focusing on the visual arts as embodied source for learning and formative development. For 5 years, she was committee secretary and Arts and Spirituality Ireland, an organization that brings artists, spiritual seekers, and scholars together for annual events. And for the last 6 years, with expert support, she has been digging through the ruins of childhood trauma. And one of the gems from this labor has been the reanimation and healthy release of her creative spirit. And navigating through those experiences is pure bravery, and intentionally and carefully putting yourself back together is a victory. Donna, I truly admire that. She shared with us that her artistic process is very intuitive. She tends to begin with a theme or with one particular photo that speaks to her. Then she likes to discover images, colors, and objects that speak into the growing theme. And with that in mind, the first piece of hers we're sharing with you today is titled Whispering, I Am Here. And this piece was inspired by the song Winter Song by Sarah Bareilles and Ingrid Michaelson. And the music video for that song is actually kind of collage-like too. It's really cute and tells its own cute story. Cute and kind of sad story. And the lyrics that lined up for me when I was kind of checking out this piece and listening to the song in the background, the lyrics that rang were, I still believe in summer days, the seasons always change and life will find a way. I'll be your harvester of light and send it out tonight so we can start again. Then the phrase, is love alive, repeats like 20 times. And like by the 5th time when you're listening to it, you're like, oh my God, is love alive? I don't know.
I don't know.
So yeah, admittedly, and maybe this is kind of dull and literal, the first thing I thought of before I went looking to see what Donna matched up was the song Digging in the Dirt by Peter Gabriel. And it is obviously like super visual, but it's also sort of like in the thought behind it, you dig in the dirt to find the places we got hurt. And it sounds appropriate for this artist's journey, which is really kind of, it's everyone's journey in a lot of ways. The materials that Donna used in this piece, paper, photographs, gel pen, and pencil. And the images here remind me too of what it's like to try and dig in ground that is actually frozen, which is really fucking hard. This is not to bring up a dead cat story, but to bring up a dead cat story.
Why not?
Because, my sister's cat passed away, and so we were going to bury it in our yard, and it was the middle of winter, and not really thinking, we just went out and went to like dig a spot for the little baby, and we went to hit it, and the floor was just ping, like just frozen. And suddenly, just like the effort of even thinking that we could like move forward and kind of do some sort of like closure thing, it just made everything much heavier, and that grief was just kind of blew up for us. So I feel like a little bit of this is almost a reminder in full context of like, one, try not to let your heart ground freeze, but then also kind of be mindful that like the thaw may be around the corner, and just keep working at it and all that kind of good stuff. I love this piece
I do too.
and all the things that it made me think.
Yes. Well, this piece gives me kind of the melancholy feel of a song by Kristen Hirsch called Bee Stung. And this chorus in particular, between the tall buildings are snow-coated alleys. Between us is nothing but grace. Snow rides the wind down and drives past the window, falling all over your face. I fly out the window and then ride the wind down. You fit me into my place. You are bee stung here. And to me, collage feels a little bit like poetry, or in this case, lyrics. So you're taking these bits and pieces, thoughts on paper, and piecing it all together to create something beautiful, which brings me to this next piece.
Which is gorgeous. This collage titled Too Beautiful for You is inspired by the Joan Baez song Diamonds and Rust. And this is, I know literally zero about Joan Baez. I'm not really a folk person. But I had to listen to it, and it was clear, like both from like the lyrics and obviously the visual. It wasn't like a legit video of Joan Baez's, but it was like, I didn't know that she had a thing with Bob Dylan in a relationship. That was like, the song itself was definitely sort of like way after the relationship was over, and it was just one of those like, yeah, about that. You know the song?
I do know this song. So yes, Joan Baez and Bob Dylan were a thing, and actually she was famous first, and she took him under her wing, and they were a couple, and she toured with him and brought him on stage. And around 1965, he was on a British tour, and he was starting to be kind of a jerk, and he refused to allow her on stage and really pushed her to the side, and it was an ugly breakup. So this particular song was written about 10 years later because he picked up a phone and called her, and it was kind of like, really, dude, you're coming back now? And so it was, everybody kind of knew this story, and it took good old Bobo about 44 years. So in 2009, he finally gave her an apology for being kind of such a dick. So
I mean,
just,
they all come back.
They, sometimes, not always.
I mean, and so back to the piece.
Yes, back to the piece.
The leaves on the pavement here, and that echo that sort of like yellow, like the yellow block on the side, and the clouds that are captured in sort of like a nearly closed circle, like the pops of teal in the center and the gold spirograph in the human form. Collage in general for me is always surprising at how it can bring such a variety in texture and color, and just looking at it. The song that came to mind for me was Brand New Lover by Dead or Alive. That's probably like just, and I think it's the human form in the center and like the golden spirograph, and
I know it's,
who doesn't love that song? And if you don't know, yeah, I hope everybody knows the song Brand New Lover by Dead or Alive. Poor Pete Burns. It's a glorious song.
yes, it is.
And if you like, yeah, like you will prepare yourself for going back to like gay clubs and dance bars and things.
We will have to add this to our final mixtape. I think we're going to have to add all of these suggestions we have, as well as the intended pieces, just to get kind of a mix. So the color and shape in this piece to me are just so visually appealing. I love that shade of blue. Anybody who knows me knows my whole house, except this wall behind me, is that shade of blue. There's a lovely balance that just draws your eye around the piece and then back to the middle. And, you know, as you called it, a spirograph, there's that electric spot. And I've had a couple songs bouncing around in my head, and I think I've settled on Anna Eng by They Might Be Giants, particularly the line, I don't want the world, I just want your half. And that line always kind of makes
But that
me...
was like mysterious for so long. Did you know that lyric when you heard it first in high school? Were you like, I just want your...
No,
did you know it was how?
I did.
I thought it was hard,
I did.
But she said it weird.
No, I knew it was your half. So yeah, I did. So Donna Mae did share with us that she is a newbie at collage, which I think is amazing. She has these beautiful works, and she just started working in this medium about the last 6 months. She shared that she doesn't like to use vintage magazines or images, which I think a lot of us maybe associate with collage, because there's this nostalgic element in the imagery that she doesn't feel suits her voice at the present. And she prefers using her own deconstructed photos and sometimes finding images from magazines, journals, or online. And when you think of collage as an art form, there is some debate out in the art world. Places like the Tate Gallery and the esteemed Guggenheim both suggest that the technique was really, it emerged in the 20th century. But there are samples that really could go back as far as 200 BC in China. In printmaking, there is a technique called chine collé, which involves adhering different types of paper together and then running it through a printing press. And so a lot of times you would see collage or that in texts. But to really think that collage only started in the 20th century seems a little bit of a preposterous statement to me.
Yeah, I think we should just call it the Goog.
The Goog. All right, the Goog.
The Goog. Why not?
So Donna Mae's final piece, which I just love this piece so much. It's called Nest, and inspired by Talking Heads, who one of my all-time favorite bands. And the song that inspired this for her was This Must Be the Place, Naive Melody. And I think this is my favorite piece of Donna Mae's. The colors, the textures, the way it breaks the borders. And I love that blue around the edges. It's architectural, or is it, is it some kind of, I don't know, computer something? I don't know, but it's really cool. And something about this piece also reminds me of Charles Demuth's painting, I Saw the Figure 5 in Gold.
Yes. And so we were talking about this earlier, but everybody who's watching the video should go check out that painting. It's the I Saw the Figure 5 in Gold. It's really cool. And I don't know if it was just like, it struck me too, but maybe I was in the mood because of this collage here too, but like I really liked it. But I would say the lyrics, and even like just the tune behind that Talking Head song, like totally makes sense for me with this collage too. And with the small glimpses of architecture and like the nesting bits and the earth in the center of a sunburst, like we're home and this is our nest. And it's kind of simple and yet so totally complicated. And maybe we overcomplicated that whole thought. And I think we talked about this last show, but I think that it's important just to sort of remember, or at least I'm remembering as we go through these pieces, every time I look at it, I pick up something different, or it strikes me in a different way. And it's not necessarily the art, it could be my mood or just like something I hadn't noticed before. I think you and I were talking about it before when you like mentioned, like, is it architecture or is it like computer stuff's going on in the backpack?
Right.
And just where it segments off, like it's just fun to interact with at different points. And I think that that's important. I'm really glad we spent time on this medium. Collage is really neat.
It is really neat. I think it's maybe underappreciated, but I do think it's a fabulous art form, and I want to see more. Yeah.
And I've enjoyed sharing this artwork. Thank you, Donna. Donna can be reached at dmlinton@hotmail.com. There are prints she would make available to you of what we looked at today, and she is open to working commissions for you, and you can follow her artistic journey on Instagram. Get you some art.
Yes.
That.
Yes. All right. Well, next up on our visual musical journey is Sina de Crime. She is a founding artistic member of Stick Figure Arts Collective. Woohoo! When not waxing poetic via six string or sonic feedback, Sina's bow and arrow pieces the heart by brush and canvas. She is our second student of the Art Institute of Chicago, so no small shakes there. Sina attended Temple University Tyler School of Art in Rome, the Sorbonne in Paris, and New York's FIT. Sina got her BA from DePauw University and then moved to New York City. Blending paint with sublime sounds of the city, Sina's work is a mixtape of people watching, metal riffs, and moments in time. Currently living in the San Francisco Bay Area with her son and partner, Sina continues to play music and paint her adventures. So Sina shared with us her feeling, or the statement, a portrait is like a dinner date on Valentine's Day. If you don't complicate it, it's pretty simple. There's no need for special effects or Photoshop or tricks or even a big to-do. You forget to take a selfie, and the memory is conversation and laughter between two friends hanging out in the moment. If you want to get complicated, you twist and turn and try to figure the other person out. Try to make something more important than it is. But those never last. The best ones, the ones that last forever, just feel natural. And we couldn't agree more. That's a really great statement. Sina is also the lead singer of the band Bottom, and she rocks pretty hard. And she's paired their tune Shine with this portrait titled Natalie. And this piece to me reminds me so much of a Paul Gauguin. The color, the imagery, and even the figure are reminiscent to me of his work. As an artist known for being a part of the post-impressionist movement, as well as the primitives, this song made me smile thinking about that, because a little bit of, if you know M. Ward, he has a song called Primitive Girl, and I got a little bit of that vibe here.
And you're going to sing it for us.
Oh God, no, nobody wants that. Nobody wants that.
I do.
No, you don't. I'll serenade you later.
Okay, so I wanted to try out the pairing of the Sina's Bottom song, Shine, to this piece, and it was delicious. Shine itself is a slow bass forward metal song, not to be confused with a metal ballad at all. And somehow the colors in this piece and the subject's expression mesh really perfectly with, I mean, of course, like she would know, she's the creator of both,
yes.
both of those. But it struck me as like, when I heard the first like strong, hard bass line, I was like, is that really going to go with this? And totally went with this. And I want to also mention that like all of these unicorn sort of variant whites that are happening in the chair too, is just really, I don't know, right now it's just striking me. And I do want to ask you, do you think that those are figs on her plate?
You know, I don't know. I like I said, I mentioned this maybe earlier today. I think she may have shared with us that those were olives. I'm not sure. I did pull out my Sexy Intercourses cookbook to see what they had to say. Olives, unfortunately, did not make the cut, but figs did.
Not the book.
But I have to say, it's a very sexy piece, though. I mean, in some ways. Not maybe intentionally, but you know, her shirt's kind of open and that line leads down and that bowl is right kind of in the middle. She's kind of coy. So, you know, it's kind of a sassy Valentine's Day piece, I think. So this piece is titled Mom in Green, and it pairs with another of the Bottom originals called The Garden. And on this, I love the colors and how they almost vibrate and absolutely give life to this painting, particularly paired with her super expressive brushwork. I mean, you want to reach out and touch it. It's so tactile looking. Yet Mom appears to be so calm and introspective with all of that going on around her.
Yeah, and with those colors, they'd like take me on a little adventure. Again, like every time I'm looking at it, like it's just like all the greens together, all the purples together, or just what the little bits of red pops up. And I'm all red poppy, maybe probably inspired by what I've been looking at with this. And I'm also a sucker for some thick ass paint. And there's like, I mean, I don't know if you can tell on the video share of this, but just the image that I'm looking at, like it picks up like there's like actual wet paint on my monitor, and it's just delicious. It's luscious. I love it. And you mentioned Gauguin, and I would say that what strikes me that's like Gauguin for me is that Polynesian series that he did. And I feel like the colors sync up in that sort of like in that mental image of mine anyway. And I can't think of what museum those are in. Do you know? They're not in Chicago, are they?
You know,
Polynesian ones.
I don't know. You know, with art it gets scattered, you know, across the world sometimes. So yeah. What I like too in this, the one sneaky little line, I mentioned this earlier to you, Meg, was right in her leg. There's that little red line, and it pops out. You know, it's a really fun placement. So
you're right. Yeah, I like that. Well, and so the song that Sina chose to pair with this is by Bottom, the band. And just a quick note, and the song title is Garden. Quick note is you can go to Bandcamp and find Bottom music. You can also find, and Sina, you'll have to sort of like let me know, but like you can find it on YouTube. I found all of it on YouTube. I like Googled Bottom, the Garden, didn't really figure anything would come up, and it was like the second result. So it's out there, but we will, again, put it out there on YouTube and do our own little playlists and things. But so this is actually a very metal song. And while it may not strike you personally as like a very metal song, like to be matching with this piece in particular, but I would remind you that this is not your mother.
It is not your mama. No, it is not.
It ain't your mama.
It ain't your
It
mama.
might be quite metal.
That's
He's
right.
quite metal.
That's right.
As it turns out.
So this piece, COVID Cut, features a mix of oil paint, gold, varnish, crepes, and charcoal on canvas. And this piece shifts from Gauguin's post-impressionism for me instead to Paul Cézanne. The more muted colors and the textures, still very lush, makes me want to really touch the painting. But the cardinal rule of art is don't touch art unless you're invited to, and that doesn't happen very often. In case you're wondering why, the oils from your hands can often degrade the paint or the base material. And the biggest threats to art, I learned this working in a museum, particularly prints and photographs, but also extends to paintings and textiles, include moisture, light, and heat. So when you display your art, be mindful of how close you hang something to a heat vent or a radiator or even a window that
Totally
catches.
interrupting you, I have to say this because I'm just thinking about it.
Yeah.
So in Indonesia and Bali, like they are prolific creators of art and they just create all the time. And one of the reasons that they, like, as it was relayed to us when we were there, that they do that so prolifically is because it just all virtually melts because of the humidity and heat and the rest of it. It's just like it's going to be gone in like 3 days, so they just continually do it over and over and over and over.
That makes sense. I don't know if any of you have been in a museum. A lot of times you'll notice in the corner of galleries these little machines that are zipping along, and they look like mini printers or something, and they're actually recording the humidity, sometimes the heat. So yeah, you want to be very careful. I mean, if somebody gives you a painting you don't like, hang it in the bathroom and then you have a reason to get rid of it. If you really love it, don't do that. So this painting, so Meg and I were laughing earlier today, we were talking about this painting and we had different interpretations. So when I saw COVID Cut, I was thinking haircut, not those cut abs that this lovely man has.
Yeah, I totally went abs. Like as soon as I saw cut, I was like, abs.
Right. So for me, this painting and title immediately made me think of the song Samson by Regina Spektor, which is this lovely piano-infused song alluding to her love and the biblical Samson. And although in the song she cuts his hair, he is her weakness and downfall.
Yes, Delilah, yet another evil woman story. But this is a sweet portrait. Somehow the variable whites in the background make it so much more interesting to like discover and look at too. The warmth of the pinks on his form are neat, and I don't know, like both the pose and the expression kind of gives me a feel of like strength, but like strength through like a kindness. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I'd say too that the background here, it reminds me of like whitewashed graffiti walls in the city. Mm-hmm. And it also reminds me of the texture from like Picasso's Old Guitarist a little bit.
Okay. Yeah, I could see that.
I will say my story. Here's my story.
Oh, no.
We've been debating. I think it says puro gaucho on the bottom, right? On the bottom left. Maybe not. Maybe Sina can correct. So in Spanish, Hay, means there is or there are. Gachopin is the Latin American reference. It's the word for a Spaniard. So if you're, let's say, out in the Pampas in Chile, and you're Chilean, you'd say, I gachopines. Get it? It's hilarious.
We're children. We're totally children. But you know what? It's Valentine's Day, so why not? Why not?
I got your penis. That's why.
That's why.
Sorry. Okay, and other ridiculous. So I went looking for the "Nice to Meet You" song by Decibel Rays, and I could not find it. Sina, we will connect and get that. But what I did find was a Neil Horan song, who is a nice young Irish boy who is a founding member of a boy band called One Direction. He had a sprightly little Euro dance hit that came out in 2019.
Very catchy.
That is and it's very like, I see, like, in the way that I look at it is, the way that I look at it is It's kind of like a 90s song in the US.
That
It was
that
from
fueled
2019.
that fueled my 2019 trip to Montana, all 2,000 miles in the car with my children. It was all the pop all
Terrible.
the time, and that one was on repeat quite a bit. Um, yeah.
Terrible. So this work is oil on canvas, gold varnish, craypas, and charcoal. It is 30 by 40, so get a print or buy the original and put it on the empty space on your wall.
A very big wall, but it is a stunning piece. Absolutely gorgeous. You can view more of Sina's artwork and follow along on her musical journey on both Facebook and Instagram. Her Facebook is Sina de Crime Art Page. Her Instagram is Bottom Rocks. And her email is sina@dbrx.industries. And yes, before you ask, it is a real email. We verified it because it did look a little bit funky to us. Sina is happy to work with you on commissions as well. Her portraits start at $450, but she may be convinced, maybe just a little bit, to barter in exchange for a wicked good Italian dinner. But it better be damn good.
Wicked good though.
Wicked good, wicked good. I'm going to the East
Good.
Coast for that one.
And
And you
this
know,
girl, she knows her way around wine too, so it better be like a nice wine.
there we go.
And that's not coming from her, that's coming from us.
Maybe it's dinner paired with wine. And you know, a lot of artists do that.
And
I have
music.
done art exchanges, you know, so maybe you've got something to barter. Maybe preferably not a chicken, but you know, hopefully you've got something good.
Chickens would only work in Portland.
Or
You could
or
barter
here,
a chicken in Portland,
you can
for
have
sure.
chickens here too, although they'd be freezing their little tails off right now.
I mean, well, here too,
Yeah.
technically. So we are heading back to Ireland, this time to Castle Island, County Kerry, for a visit with ceramic artist Delia O'Donoghue. Delia has always loved arts and crafts, and although her day job used to be bookkeeping and business, just business, right? Business cat. That was Delia. When work became scarce during the recession, she decided it was a good time to go back and focus on her creative side. So she took a prep course at Kerry College for further education and got her degree in ceramics and design from the Limerick School of Art and Design. She then set up her own ceramics business. So make sure you go to her shop on Main Street in Castle Island the next time you go to the Ring of Kerry.
So, leading into this next piece, not to be confused with the Ring of Fire, although Delia is an amazing ceramicist, she has submitted this super fiery, fierce acrylic painting, and I absolutely love the way the flames leap off the canvas and that texture and that light. Like it totally glows even though it's on canvas, and that is really fucking hard to do. So, I love that. Her
I
ins-
hadn't considered that.
it is
The
it's
way that
hard.
light, how difficult that would be to bring light into a piece.
Especially if you have a dark piece to make that illuminate or glow. It's
Yeah.
it's use of color, but it's definitely a trick to it. Um, so she pairs this or calls or her inspiration for this piece is Paul Weller's "You Do Something to Me," which she shared is her all-time favorite love song, and in particular, the line "Dancing through the fire just to touch a flame and feel real again" is what inspired the painting. And it's quite literal, but hopefully expresses the feeling of playing with fire or jumping into something both amazing and dangerous or being burned by that which lights you up. And for me, I want to refer back to one of the musical artists that Donna Mae Linton used. And singer-songwriter Ingrid Michaelson has a song called Fire, and it gives me a very similar vibe.
Yeah. Well, and I think that you're right. I didn't notice the fire eating up the individual until today. But and the song for me, I think, and this is again, I'm really literal with matching these songs, but to me, this is the Cult Fire Woman, just obviously, which is probably the best like first day of summer song that exists. So, but it also works for me too because Delia, the artist herself, is sort of a fire woman in that she melts things to make them, turn into something else and all that kind of good stuff. I also see, though I will disclaimer, have never and probably would never go to Burning Man. It seems like it would be almost a scene from Burning Man in sort of a whirly, dirly, dervish kind of way where it's like a spinning, dizzying night with fire. And it does seem like this subject is, it's interesting the balance between like, I don't really necessarily know like if they're in control of the flames or if the flames are controlling them.
Yeah,
Right?
it's
And
hard to tell.
Yeah, I think so.
It's consuming. I
Uh,
mean, we talked about this at an earlier time. Like the body looks raw. I mean, like those flames,
yeah,
are they taking them in? Or are the flames eating them? Like it's hard to tell. I mean, it's pretty powerful.
yeah, and I don't even think that I didn't catch that the first couple of times I looked at it.
I didn't either.
I think because I was taken by probably the capturing of the light and the fire itself. Um, so, and what's interesting to me here too is that what's fun is that it's kind of neat to think of or be thoughtful about like how a ceramicist's like artistic view would translate from throwing pottery to paint on canvas. So that's kind of a neat little blend here too. So on that note, let's check out her pottery. Delia told us that she takes inspiration from the naturescape of County Kerry. Her final project for her degree was primarily based around the spectacular Skellig Islands, which I have not yet gone to. I have been to the Aran Islands, I will say that, but not the Skelligs. And the ingenuity of the monks that once lived there, too.
So, fun fact for all of you Star Wars nerds out there like me. Star Wars The Force Awakens and Star Wars The Last Jedi were partially shot on the Skellig Islands, and the remains of the monastery appear in the film, representing an ancient Jedi temple. So, just another little piece of foreshadowing as well.
Did somebody live in the temple in the movie?
No, I think it was just the ruins. So it was, I'm trying to remember, but I believe it was more of this used to exist, this used to be here, and now it is not.
Yeah. Okay. I'll have to go watch the movie again. So Delia shared with us that she uses several different ashes in her glazes: turf, wood, and organic oat husk, which she sources locally from the adorably named Mary Mill.
And it is adorable. It's so adorable. Meg and I spiraled down a rabbit hole to look them up and see their little family story and
so adorable.
Look at the oatmeal. So you should check it out. It's really cute.
I mean, it's ridiculous. Yes, it's another stop when you go to Kerry. When you go to Kerry, obviously you're going to Delia's shop, right? And if you can get away from drinking tea and hanging out with her all day, that would be amazing. But you got to go to the Mary Mill.
Yeah.
Make sure that she takes you there. So she seeks to create sustainably. She doesn't use coal ash because of the chemicals, and she generally prefers to use sort of the naturally occurring colorants around her, like cobalt, copper, red and black, zinc, iron oxides, and rutile. So rutile, I had to look that up. It's a mineral that produces a bright white color from igneous rock. Titanium something or others.
Fancy.
Yeah, you don't know any better, so I can say whatever
I always heard, like, the word, it's rutile, and when I saw it, I was thinking of, like, rutilated quartz, which makes me think that rutile must be in the quartz, like, when you see the streaks in it.
Striations.
Striations, yes, thank you. That's a better term than streaks.
Okay, so, all right, so with some of the glazes, she doesn't add anything, and this is an example of that. So she this is like one third wood ash in the glaze, and the natural lower half has an imprint, has a floral imprint kick in. And Delia chose Wonderful Worlds as a song pairing because of the ability to incorporate the world's beauty into her creations.
And she shared with us that she throws most of her work, and a lot of it is functional. However, she is working on some porcelain wall pieces that will feature some of her drawings that have been screen printed on them. And for those of you not fluent in pottery, throwing is a term for working clay on a potter's wheel. So you've probably seen, the spinning wheel and the person putting their hand in and like pulling the pot. Sometimes they even say pulling pottery. And so that is, I believe, what she is alluding to when she says that she throws most of her work.
From Ghost, the movie.
Yes,
it's kind of like
a little Unchained Melody.
Is it Unchained Melody? Because in my head, I'm like, but it's like We Had the Time of Our Life, but that's a different Patrick Swayze.
That's Dirty
moment.
Dancing. Yes.
Which I haven't seen.
What?
Oh my God.
Okay, we need to revisit this after the show. Okay. All right.
Well, I will see it.
Okay.
I will. Okay, so this piece It's so cute. So Delia has a series of pieces. So, when you check out our website and go to the store and whatever, like that have this teal and the natural bits. I love this teal color. You mentioned this teal color back with Donna's collage too.
I did.
Yeah, I'm sort of obsessed with it. I feel like this is the color right
I love
now.
it. It's my fave.
It was blush, and I feel like now it's teal. So look out, world. So anyway, this bud vase literally fits in the palm of your hand. It's an itty bitty baby bud vase, imprinted with wildflowers, which is why she chose the song Wildflowers by Tom Petty as the inspiration. And she uses wildflowers. Of course, now I can't get that song. Like, now I've got the guitar in my head, like, ding, 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 ding.
I want you to do that again.
Huh?
Do that again, please.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
She belongs with the
That's it.
flowers.
Yes.
Ding, 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 ding.
Yes. And Yasmin, yes. Yasmin commented robin's egg blue. And it's robin's egg blue, maybe with a hint more of teal. But yeah.
Way more robin's egg blue than whatever what was I saying? Teal? Turquoise? Robin's egg. I don't know. I'm not official. But yes, this color.
Okay.
But yeah, so she likes that the song, and she's always liked Wildflowers, the song, because she thinks it celebrates all of the untamed nature of the world, and specifically County Kerry. I'm gonna say this: Delia likes County Kerry.
Yes, she does. She very much, and it's good. Love the place you're in,
Yeah.
I really love this piece. To me, it's so precious, and I don't mean that in a condescending way. It is this tiny, beautiful little piece, and it's gorgeous. The colors are so exquisite. I love, love, love that blue. And I love how just even the image, we're supposed to be looking at the pot, but the way she pairs it with the pink flowers, kind of further juxtaposing everything. I may need to buy this little gem myself.
You should for me. So it's a bit tricky for us to get to Delia's shop on Main Street. So to tide you over till you're in Ireland next, go to our website, DeliaO'DonoghueCeramics.com. She has a Facebook page, Instagram page, and you can reach out to her directly on her Gmail. You can go to her website. You can see how cute her little shop is in County Kerry, first. And you can shop her treasures in there. And for anything that's in there that she does sell out, and she's obviously always creating new things. So if you're interested in something and it's not available, reach out to her and you can chat virtually over a pint or a cuppa. Yes. And Heather today learned that cuppa means cup of tea.
And I love tea. So I am sad I didn't know that phrase. So I'm going to have to use it going forward. I think too, Meg, we should mention, post-show, we will upload all of these with the contact information on our page, just so that if folks want to reach out, they have it accessible to them.
Totally. I have somebody that'll, I have to tell you this.
Okay.
And then we're going to go into Heather.
Okay.
That's going to be the Heather show in a second. I now have somebody who encouraged me to sing, which is nice.
That is great.
And somebody who wants to watch Dirty Dancing with me.
You're lucky. So, look at you.
It's all coming together.
Maybe we should have a Dirty Dancing watch party.
Done.
Yes.
Totally done. And we can do a Facebook Live.
Exactly.
It's Heather's turn. So Heather Humbert is originally from Chicago, but now calls the Twin Cities home. And it's how cold? -17.
Yeah, when we started, it was -9, but felt like -24. So woo.
Ooh, that sounds amazing.
Balmy.
She works primarily in acrylic paints and loves to paint toys, animals, flowers, and people, and has spent the last year focusing on her art and creating many new pieces outside of her comfort zone, and loves a new challenge.
I do.
So Heather holds a degree in studio art from Lawrence University in Appleton, Wisconsin. And after graduating, she spent time working in investment banking and a variety of nonprofits, including a wonderful art museum. Mm-hmm. We're not going to say what.
We can say it's the Minneapolis Institute of Art. I worked there for 5 years. It is absolutely a wonderful institution.
Okay. All right, good. I was like, why are we not saying that? Okay. So Heather cites her daughter's cat's neighborhood wildlife, namely, I know, the possum.
The possum.
And strong female friends as constant muses. She is really proud of Stick Figure Arts Collective and the women that we are promoting, and hopes that we continue providing a forum like this for your future enjoyment.
And we're so very happy that all of you are here joining us tonight. We appreciate you so much. So my dad always used to tease me that things like this, stick figure arts, would keep me off the streets and out of trouble. I was such a nerd. There was no fear of that. But here we are, and we're doing our thing. So on to my first piece. So this piece is inspired by, of all things, a taxidermy group that I follow. I have a love affair with painting toys, and I will do so until I die. It's in my blood. My dad was a toy photographer. I grew up with toys. I still have a few behind me and around my house. I just love toys. And so in this group, a woman posted this photo and said that her young daughter placed the mermaids in this bottle and called it a wet specimen, such as you might see in a museum or hospital. So I'm guessing some of you have seen those bottles that may have a dead snake in them or something. So her daughter was trying to recreate this. And I love this image so much because of the absolutely crazy response that it received. And I like to paint toys as a social experiment. I paint these vignettes that have been left innocently by children, just like this, in order to see the adult response. And the shift in perspective is truly fascinating. Responses to my paintings range from repulsion to embarrassment to giggles, suggestive eyebrow wiggles, and the crazy thing is you never know. I mean, obviously the child had no intent of this being a suggestive piece at all. So as you can imagine, as I said, this image received a massive response, but I was really happy to see it was predominantly positive. So I reached out to this woman and received permission to paint this as part of my toy series. And I immediately thought of Jill Sabule's song, I Kissed a Girl, and the rest is history, or art history.
Art history, and this is a very important note. The Jill Sabule version of I Kissed a Girl is not the same as the Katy Perry version of I Kissed a Girl, because I don't know Katy Perry at all. Katy Perry.
Katy Perry.
Still don't know Katy. See, I messed up again, and we even clarified that earlier.
We did.
It's a terrible song. That is, I'm happy, like, it's great, but it's terrible. But the Jill Sabule song was way better. Way better. Just wanted to clarify that.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I appreciate that.
I do want to say, too, that I've gotten to know your work, and I've enjoyed that it's kind of like a voyeuristic thing going on, like a serious voyeuristic thing, and it's neat to, like, know that these things are happening naturally, and how it inadvertently provokes, like you said, like people being repulsed or embarrassed or whatever it is, and why. It's sort of like, why would an emotional response of shame or judgment come from something so innocuous? And that's what I think is really interesting about your work.
Well, thank you. And that's why I do what I do. So speaking of raising eyebrows, this next piece was actually censored and removed from my last solo show.
Censored.
I know, right? So I present Cheeky. So this is a large, in-your-face, vibrant piece, and it makes me incredibly happy. So as I was helping my teenage daughter clean her bedroom, I happened upon this doll, and she was just knocked over, and all you could see from the bookshelf was this angle, her legs and skirt, and it just struck me as so striking. So I had to paint it, and I will share, I do not normally care for the color pink or yellow, but it works here, and this has to be probably one of my top 3 favorite paintings I've done. And this, oh my gosh, people have such crazy visceral reactions to this piece. They love it, they hate it, but they feel it, and I appreciate that. And all of that emotion is over an 18-inch fashion doll, which I think is really powerful. I think I told you, Meg, I've made some magnets of this that people can buy. They're like $8. And my aunt gave some as holiday gifts, and one of her friends actually cut it off. Like, she censored the magnet because she found it so offensive. So I paired it with the fast and sexy Poi Dog Pondering song called Candy, which is definitely more spicy than sweet. My oldest daughter, however, told me it reminds her of the song Legs from RuPaul's Drag Race, and I will take that as the highest of compliments.
Because RuPaul is the best, obviously.
Yes.
Now wait, where would you cut this off from? Did
I
they
don't
cut
know.
the booty? Huh.
She kept calling it a doll vagina. I'm like, dolls don't have vaginas, so I don't know. Maybe she cut it off above
Okay.
the shoes. I'm not sure what she did there.
Okay. Um, well, okay. So, in being a little bit dull and maybe obvious, or very easily like I take suggestions easy. I would also go with your older daughter's vote, but I would go with ZZ Top legs.
That is a good choice.
Immediately, like my brain just goes into the music video.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but here's what's striking me about this piece is that like it's one that like you look at something that's completely non-human, like and fairly clearly a toy, but like how it's shaded with sexuality. But even still, like sexuality should be playful. It should be fearless and pink and zebra striped and all the rest. And I like this piece in that it's a reminder just to remove like the stigma or the concept of shame or judgment from the human form. And I love that this scene just sort of accidentally happened in real life. And I love that capturing it like generates like all of that kind of like discussion actually got censored. Like that's crazy.
It did. And at a brewery of all places. Like this was a
Yeah.
show at a brewery where people go to drink alcoholic beverages. The best part is it was picked up a week later to be shown at a distillery. So evidently if you drink hard liquor, it's okay. If you drink beer, it's not okay. So there you have the story of Cheeky. So moving on to something just a little bit more somber. This is a very personal piece and little, I don't know, makes me a little vulnerable sharing this, but I had to ask a very, very long-term partner to leave, as in vacate the premise and never come back on Valentine's Day. So full disclosure, this holiday always has a little bit of a sting to it for me. So this piece is based on the Billy Joel song "And So It Goes," and I have also titled it as such. And it is what really inspired me to suggest the format for this show. I was in my car one day listening to the song, which I've listened to so many times, and all of a sudden I just started crying, and it hit me so hard. And a variation of this image kind of flashed through my head, and I knew I had to paint it. It made me think of all the promises that we make to our partners and the pain that comes from broken promises, and for some of us, that lost love. We all think of weddings and especially pictures of the brides, and they're so full of love and hope. But then when that love and trust is lost, those thorns dig really deep and cause unbearable pain. And as we feel it slipping away, we sometimes hold on tighter to that love, even when the pain is unbearable and we know that we absolutely have to let go. So I painted a rose in the center and forward because that stands for love, and the forget-me-nots represent fidelity and truth, and the yellow carnation represents disappointment and rejection.
And I'm sure this would like this image provokes different things for different people, and I think it's subtly even today like I only realized like I had sort of, and I think because the image probably already provokes sort of like an like oh my god. It also is like the blackness and even just like the fact that there isn't a head, you know. The song that comes to mind for me when I look at it is a Nine Inch Nails song called Ruiner, but I don't like, but at the same time,
Yeah.
I look at this as sort of like it's being this is an important piece of life. And like, I wouldn't, change it for me personally, all that kind of, how it is. This is a weird,
I know how
but
it is. No, I get
I
it.
will say like the moment of being like sort of, midlife lady that I realized like, oh my God, I know why the old ladies cry at weddings. Like, I know what that is because it's so loaded. There's so much in there. There's so much hope and joy and love and fear and bravery. And like, it's super courageous to like jump into the river like that. But and I mentioned this earlier. I think this is really interesting. So like, I noticed probably today, maybe yesterday, that there was the markings beneath the fingers. Talk about that a little bit.
So it is a rose, and in the song they actually reference how he only feels the thorns, and I see that as she's moving forward, and it's hurting her. Those thorns are poking her, and they're making her bleed, and it's a deep, deep pain, and but the love is kind of overcoming everything. So that is what that is depicting.
Yeah. And that's funny because it's like it was sort of a secondary realization, and the rose was really kind of struck me the most about the painting, and I feel like it's just sort of being that it's dead center and absolutely glorious, like right where it is. I feel like there is, despite the rest of it seems like kind of hopeful or restorative in some way.
So that is my piece, and so it goes. So moving on.
You're not going to sing it?
I'm not going to sing it. No, I'm serious. Nobody wants to hear me sing. It's so I sing enough in the car and embarrass my children. So as we mentioned earlier, Meg and I went to high school together. Go Maine South Hawks. And home is Chicago. So I know I have this reaction. I don't know how many of you have it when you drive into a city or you fly over a city and you get that flutter in your stomach or that little pang in your heart, and you know that's home. And so that is this place, my place. So this piece titled Home is Where the Heart is inspired by the Aliata Haynes Jeremiah song Lakeshore Drive. And Meg pointed out, maybe not everybody knows this song. Maybe it was just super popular in Chicago. I don't know. And although it's not a traditional
I mean,
love
it's like you don't even need to know, like nobody would know the band name. Like the song Lakeshore Drive, if you say you're from Chicago and you don't know that song, you're just not from Chicago, period.
Yeah. Yes.
You're like totally like removing your Chicago like license.
Yeah, you get your card taken away.
Yeah. Because that means that you didn't listen to Magic 104.3 and you don't know who Dick Biondi is. And if Dick Biondi isn't a part of your life, are you really a Chicagoan?
No. Although, we have to be kind. There's an age cutoff for that. We're aging ourselves, Meg, so we're just gonna put that out there.
He's still out there.
I know, but anyhow, so although it's not a traditional love song per se, this is my love song for Chicago. And it also is a memory of my dad, who truly loved this song. And he would always tell us when he was a very young man, he used to have a Triumph, and he would zip up and down Lakeshore Drive, and he loved to, it was a convertible, and he said it was so low he could, put his hand outside of the car and like file his nails on the road as he drove. So I love that image, and going in at night too to see all the lights. It's just in the dark of the lake. It's just so gorgeous. And I usually visit a few times a year, but due to the pandemic, obviously I have not been there in quite some time. It's been over a year, and I really miss the place and the people. And I do want to give a huge shout out to my friend Avery and his co-pilot Sarah, who drove up and down LSD, as we like to call it, taking photos for me so that I could get the perfect view from the exact spot that I knew I wanted to paint. And that, my friends, that is love. That is true love for your friends. So those are the people. It is love. Those are the people that you can call and say, hey, I have this huge favor to ask. And they're like, of course. And they were very disappointed, however, that I did not want them to steal a street sign. They went out and even found one with my name on it. And I am many things, and I encourage all sorts of naughty behavior, but not theft, unless it is a golf cart at 2 a.m. at a reunion. But that's a different story.
Lest you digress. And yes. You mentioned too that like in photographing for this show, like the image itself doesn't quite do justice for the variance in the night sky.
No, and I want to make prints of this. I think I may have to have this professionally photographed. I did my very best. The sky is three to four different layers of greens and blues and purples, and it's a translucent paint, so it does let light through. So it has a gorgeous glow to it, and it really juxtaposes nicely, kind of with the almost matte finish of the grays. And so, yeah, it's a tricky one to photograph. And in my humble opinion, it's an absolutely gorgeous piece in person.
Yeah, and it's like one of my favorite spots. I mean, it is like my approaching the S curve, right? So that's like the funnest place to be. Not in winter, but like super fun to drive that spot.
Oh yeah.
And like in a way, like it actually has like that sort of like a view of winter when like your eyes have the teardrops in there and they freeze. So it's almost like that. It is like a memory view, but it's also sort of like a winter view, because my heart is with you for the -17.
I appreciate that. I appreciate that.
But this kind of glorious glow of like old school, the Drake there right in the center. everything about it is just great. It just totally makes me homesick looking at it.
Well, thank you. I get homesick too. I will say I was a little sad. I really wanted Lake Point Tower off to the side.
Oh yeah,
But they were not able to capture it in the pictures. I forget, it's really kind of way over there.
it is.
So, yeah. So, all right, hold on to your hats, kids. I am going to present not the princess you're looking for. So, I'm putting it all out there, literally. This is inspired by the song You Can Leave Your Hat On. Now, Randy Newman, of as many of us know from Pixar fame, wrote this song, but my favorite cover is by the always spicy Sir Tom Jones, kind of the king of sexy songs. And this song came on.
I mean, wait.
What?
Barry White is the king of sexy.
That's
songs.
true. Okay. No, okay. That's true. Barry White is, but Tom Jones just, that's why you and I talked about this. Like, we love his confidence. Like, he is.
Yeah. It's ridiculous.
Maybe not the sexiest man alive, but man, that guy can just get up and sing these crazy sexy songs. And so this song came on while I was prepping for this show, and I started laughing, thinking about all of the ridiculous hats that I have and that somebody could wear. And truth be told, if someone told me I could leave my hat on, I would of course pick this hat. So I guess it's up to you. Is it a mood killer or a mood enhancer? You decide.
You put it out to the poll. See what people in live Facebook want to think. I'm going to say enhancer.
Thank you.
It's a total enhancer. And before we go anywhere, I have not mentioned this, but like I think that you, like, as you were developing this for the show, you were like kind of like trying to figure out like what background am I going to use, like whatever. This background, I love it.
Thank you. Yeah, this was 4 different colored backgrounds trying to decide this.
This is great.
I love
it. I haven't been able to tell you that, but I've been meaning to say something.
Well, thank you.
I said it.
Thank you. And the color, again, photos never do them justice. And the color, like the blue really, all the colors really pop in this. And I was really tickled with how it turned out.
Yeah, it's awesome. And I like this song is a perfect match for this piece. Like everybody knows that Tom Jones song, right? They probably do. And if you don't know it, you need to revisit it because like the lyrics are just like, take off your clothes, like turn on every fucking light in the house, stand on a chair and shake it. And the dude, like, but he is, and I watched like a later version. I think that's what I posted on Facebook too. It's like, he is an old man singing the song like, hey, like do it. Because he is that confident and he is not like, it's not a discovery phase for him. He's like, I am in this and I want you to be in this. And it's just it's so great.
It's so good.
So it's an awesome reminder, I think, to like celebrate you and celebrate like put on your Star Wars hat and be a weirdo and do your thing and whatever. It's a good celebration of self. That song and this piece, and it's all delicious.
I will say, self-portraits are tricky, and you and I had talked about this, I don't know, a while ago, and when I first was in college, they asked you to do a self-portrait, and it was painful and horrible, and I hated every minute of it. And flash forward some years, so 10 years ago from today or from now, and I was going through my divorce, and I did a whole very introspective group of self-portraits that were part of a show, and lots of angry, powerful women. And in the last year, again, so that was at 35, now I'm at 45, and I've done 2 self-portraits this year, and they're both absolutely ridiculous, and they make me laugh and smile. And not only do I see the progress of my painting, but I see the progress of me as a human. And, self-portraits might not be everybody's jam, but they're really cathartic as well for the artist, I think. So
I would think it'd be super hard.
It is.
I can barely handle my own reflection.
Well, but see, I always have the live model, which is really helpful. So
Yeah.
I think I told you, I did want to name this for a while, Show Me Your Lightsaber. And my child walked in the room and saw it and was like, oh my God, you're so embarrassing, and like ran out of the room. So that was
censored by your own child.
I was. So that was the end of that.
One show.
What?
We have 2 censored pieces in one show.
I know. I don't know. Shut me down. So if you are interested in any of the work I've shown here tonight, and I am happy to make prints or sell the originals, which would be great too, or you want to take a deeper dive, chat some Star Wars, even work on commission pieces. I love doing commissions. I've done quite a few this past year. Please visit my Facebook page at HLH Art Min, or Instagram at H Humbert underscore art and hhumbert.art@gmail.com. Lots of variations because evidently H Humbert is quite widely used. Who knew?
Maybe there's a lot of Humberts in the world.
Maybe.
We want to thank our artists who are thoughtful about our MIxtape Valentine's Day theme and put their Valentine's Day love into the work. We hope you guys enjoyed meeting the creations of Heather, Donna Mae, Delia, and Sina.
We also want you to feel comfortable buying art. All of our artists featured today would love to hear from you, whether it's to buy an original print of the work or original or a print of the work, and help craft commissions as well. As I said, we don't want art to be something that's scary for you. It should be fun, it should be personal, and it should bring you pleasure. So,
pleasure.
So with that, we want to close by saying thank you. And, you know, many of us are suffering through the crazy cold and snow sweeping across the US right now, and we are dreaming of spring and our next show. So are you an artist who loves cats? Perfect. Because the name of our next theme show is The Cat's Pajamas. Up in the upper right-hand corner, you see my dickheads, Fluffy Frank and Little Tuxedo Alex, representing the House of Humbert. So be on the lookout for our next call for art, which we will be posting soon.
And I'm obviously thoroughly excited about our next show theme, and I would be remiss if I didn't introduce you to the bottom image here, this lovely white-bellied, handsome lounge master. His name is Sir Edmund Hillary, and he is my child, one of them, of course. So that's it for our show. Thank you for spending some of your Valentine's Day with us. We're sending you all of our best out there. Keep making art, keep experiencing art, buy art, put it on your walls. If you have questions, if you have comments, message us on Facebook or Instagram, or just shoot us an email at stickfigurearts.com.
Yes, thank you all for joining us.
And stickfigurearts@gmail.com. I totally skipped that part.
Oh, well, there we go. And we will post all of this online as well. And we just want to thank you for joining us and being our Valentines. We hope you've enjoyed our mixtape featuring love, art, and of course, music.
And we're going to... This is happening. Thank you. Happy Valentine's Day.
Take off your coat.
I don't have a hat.